Standing at the gateway to a new adventure can be exciting, but also quite daunting. You think you know what is coming, or at least hope it might be in line with what little experience you may already have. Or maybe you're just relishing the newness of what it is you are about to embark upon. There may be some fear of the unknown, and some worry about the logistics. Hear the call of Jesus to his disciples. The harvest is plentiful, but the labourers are few. Therefore ask the Lord of the harvest to send out the labourers into his harvest. The labourers are few. So Jesus summoned his 12 disciples, equipped them with all they needed, and then he sent them out to proclaim the good news. The equipment he gave them was authority, his authority. The disciples had been with Jesus for some time, and they had witnessed how he worked and all the things he had done. Now Jesus was giving the disciples the authority to go and do likewise. They were to go as they were, with nothing more than, I guess, the clothes on their backs, not even an extra tunic or sandals. Nothing but the hope that in exchange for their labour, they would at least be fed and watered. They deserved that much. Jesus equipped the disciples with something else, the knowledge that what they were embarking upon was not going to be easy. I am sending you out like sheep in the midst of wolves, he said. He warned that in their journeying, they might end up in places where they would not be welcomed. And if that was to happen, they should shake the dust off their feet, a sign of condemnation on the unwelcoming house or town. If only the men and women arriving at the port of Tilbury during those early years following the Second World War had the opportunity to shake the dust of unwelcoming places off their feet. The Windrush generation heard the call that labourers were few. The message had gone out to the islands of the Caribbean after the war that the mother country was in desperate need of labourers to rebuild what was lost, to get the country back on its feet. Your country needs you. A rallying cry that many answered, particularly those who during the war fought for the mother country. Those who had skills they believed would be of enormous benefit and were happy to commit themselves to using those skills in a land they thought of as their second home. And those who trusted the system to enable them to further their education and develop new skills. As one news outlet put it at the time, they served this country well. In Jamaica they couldn't find work. Discouraged but full of hope, they sailed for Britain, citizens of the British Empire coming to the mother country with good intent. Little did they know that, like the disciples, they too were to be like sheep in the midst of wolves, that they too would be hated, not because of Jesus, but because of the colour of their skin. They couldn't flee the persecution they faced, for there were very few places to which they could flee and be spared further persecution. There was little in the way of welcome wherever they went. The word they came to know very well was no. No, that flat is no longer available. No, that job isn't for you. No, we don't take the likes of you here. The hatred that came with those two small letters reverberates even to this day with the ongoing injustice of the Windrush scandal. The mother country did not welcome her own children who were well equipped with God-given gifts and talents needed to generate a plentiful harvest of recovery. They came as they were called, full of hope, leaving behind family, friends, and all they knew, to embark on a new and exciting adventure, only to be faced with an unwelcoming, hostile environment from almost every corner of the land. They found themselves sacrificial lambs in the midst of ravaging wolves, suffering untold racial prejudice, discrimination, hardship, violence, and hatred. Suffering for many was the order of the day, no matter how educated, talented, amiable, entrepreneurial, or hardworking. Many were denied housing, employment, even turned away from churches. They were exploited and abused, treated with suspicion, and today many are treated as illegal immigrants due to the callous and shameful actions of those in authority. This must make the words of Paul to the Romans a bitter pill to swallow. Suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. How can that be good news? It's bad enough having to endure hatred and discrimination, being barred and jeered at, spat at and mocked, called despicable names, and have doors closed in your face. But is this really what Jesus intended his people from the Caribbean to endure? Is this really what St. Paul had in mind when he spoke about hope coming from endurance of suffering? I don't believe that to be the case. Yet, hope continues to spring eternal despite what the Windrush generation and their descendants, including me, have suffered and endured. Hope has kept their spirit alive. It has been through perseverance and determination, filled with hope, that has made this country richer for the cultural diversity that covers the land. The music, food, colours, artistry, literature, theatrics, and so much more woven into the fabric of our nation. It is hope for a better world that has given many the courage to fight for their rights and the rights of others, to raise awareness of the injustices, to speak up while some are desperately trying to keep them silent, to keep hope alive that their labours will not have been in vain. The adventure remains exciting, daunting, but filled with hope. Hope that the suffering still being endured will cease. The harvest is still plentiful, and the labourers few. Let's keep asking the Lord of the harvest to send out the labourers into his harvest. But let's ask too for the dust to settle, so that fewer of us will have to shake the dust off our feet. Amen.